You've been doing this for 13, 14 years now, and that mindset piece and that passion for philanthropy, like so many people would have given up. So you've taken so many hits. Like, why do you keep, like, where does this come from?
Yeah. I mean, we talk a lot in business about vision and mission. So often when I hear those words, you just sort of zone out. But it is definitely that. And it's both. Like the vision of Thankyou. I mean, I talked at the beginning about like crying, in front of a computer. And that was a moment. I've had many more traveling to the field, but we haven't got to travel. The world's been kind of upside down, locked down. And so for me, what's kept me going hasn't just been like, then I met another family and then I saw another video. Like that stuff over time, it matters and it grounds you, but it's not enough. I think the mission drives us, but the vision is so compelling. Like, I don't know about you, but I find it hard to unsee something. And so for me, I feel like I've seen a world where this idea is at scale and it just looks different to the one we're in now. And I'm like, if we don't keep going, who's going to? And I know there are many doing many good things, but I think we're just compelled. And it some days it hurts because you're like, I was in a meeting this week and, particular retailer, and retail is a tough game. But talk about sitting in a room with a person who doesn't know the brand that well. It's like, just doesn't get it. And literally in that moment, I'm like, why are we 14 years in and still feel like, but you don't see what we see. And you're treating us like, I don't want to say rubbish, but it was just tough. It was like, but then there are other moments that you're like, oh no, some people do see this. And that helps me when someone sees that vision, because I'm like, it's not just in a bubble. I had this moment and warning, name drop about to happen. But I got invited to a conference and it wasn't to speak, it was just to sit in the audience. And I was at registration and I'm queuing up and these two girls come up who are part of the conference team and they're like, are you Daniel Flynn? I'm like, yes. They said, you didn't get back to our email. I'm like, I'm so sorry. They're like, that's okay, but tomorrow morning, President Obama has asked if he can interview you on the live stream. Are you up for it? Yeah, and I'd just flown through the night. So I was like, can you say that one more time for me? And they were like, I was like, him. They're like, him. And so the next day, literally, he was here. He'd chosen 3 young people from around the world. We had like 24 hours notice or not even. And we're sitting there on stools. And in that moment, it was insane on a lot of levels. But he, like unscripted, he's like, Daniel, like markets are global now. This is such an amazing idea. When's it coming to the world? And I'm like, President Obama, we're about to launch it to New Zealand. And then one day we'll bring it to America. And it was just like, I was probably talking in an even higher pitched voice than that. Like I was nervous. And at the same time, like, you see this. I gave him a chapter 1 and a hand wash. And at the end, he was like, the girls and I, we wash our hands. This will be great. And I'm like, they wash their hands. Like, of course they do. But that to me is the simplicity of this idea. We all wash our hands. Now, we made 10 million last year. And that's because sanitizer and hand wash sales went up. But here's some context. We made $10 million that we gave in a market of 23, 24 million people. But how many people are there on the planet? And what would last year look like if we were already in 190 countries? Because we weren't the only people that made a lot of money. And some of the people we're meeting with and proposing partnerships with, our challenge to them is, you all did very well in the last 24 months, 48, at a time when the world fell apart. And actually for the first time in 3 decades, we've gone backwards on our mission to end extreme poverty. So they are saying that we are going to go up from 736 million people living in extreme poverty. That number may go up a further 500 million. So like, where's the passion come from? Right now, it's like, that's getting worse. And weirdly, consumers keep consuming and we're all buying more and everyone's getting into everything and cars are going up and houses are going up and everyone's buying hand sanitizer. Like consumerism hasn't stopped. So I would say more than ever, Thankyou has a role to play. I'm glad we've had a long journey figuring out who are we who are we really? And then redesigning that so that we can kind of hopefully catapult this, and one day we're catching up and we're in 190 countries and we're talking about the profit that year, and it was bigger than 10, you know, that's the dream.
Hey Foundr fam, we hope that you loved that clip. If you did, you can click through right here to watch the full interview. You don't want to miss this one. See you there.